South Africa. A land of rhythm, history, color, and contradiction. A place where beauty and heartbreak often walk side by side. A nation where joy rises from the cracks of struggle, where creativity flourishes even in the shadow of pain. And on the night of February 10th, 2023, that contradiction reached one of its most devastating moments. A moment that would echo across the country, through the streets, the headlines, the airwaves, and the hearts of millions. On that night, a nation's icon, a father, a friend, a pioneer, lost his life in one of the most shocking assassinations modern South Africa has ever witnessed. This is the story of AKA. This is the story of Tibz. This is the story of a tragic night that reshaped a country, and the long, winding journey from their murders to the arrests to the extradition of the Ndimande brothers, men whose names became part of the investigation not because guilt was proven, but because police requested that they answer questions in one of the most complex criminal cases in recent history. This is a story told only through publicly confirmed facts, verified police statements, official court filings, and the echoes of a nation still waiting for justice. The day everything changed, it started like any other warm Durban Friday, calm, buzzing with nightlife, alive with the energy that only coastal cities seem to carry. The sun dipped slowly into the Indian Ocean, leaving behind a humid glow that settled over the city. Cars rolled down Florida Road, music spilled from restaurants, and conversations floated into the air. It felt like an ordinary South African evening. AKA, born Kiernan Forbes, arrived in the city with excitement and momentum. His new album had just dropped and was already making waves. After navigating through personal storms, both private and public, he was entering a chapter of renewal. Interviews were lined up. Performances were scheduled. His career had regained a powerful rhythm. Friends said he seemed lighter that week, happier, laughing more, looking forward, not backward. Throughout the day, he visited barbers, producers, and supporters, people who loved him, respected him, and admired him. He took photos, he joked, he embraced strangers. There was no tension, no anxiety, no sense of danger in the air. Durban felt like a reset button. As night fell, AKA made his way to Wish Restaurant on Florida Road, a stylish, well-known venue often filled with creatives, entrepreneurs, couples, and tourists. It was a social landmark. He wasn't alone. With him was Tebello Tibz Motsoane, a beloved chef, businessman, and creative visionary. Tibz was one of the earliest architects of AKA's career. More importantly, he was a brother in every way that mattered. Their partnership had grown from shared dreams and long nights in studios to business ventures and life-changing milestones, and even though they had gone their separate professional ways. In later years, the bond remained. On that night, Tibz wasn't a manager, he wasn't a consultant, he was simply a friend, supporting another friend. Inside Wish, the vibe felt warm and normal. People laughed, glasses clinked, phones flashed. Conversations rose and fell in the background. For everyone inside, it was just another night. But outside, something else was unfolding. Something chilling, methodical, and completely invisible to the two friends. Enjoying their evening vehicles, moved with purpose. People stepped in and out of shadows. Phones buzzed. Observers watched silently. A coordinated plan was coming together. Discreetly, purposefully, without the slightest warning to the men who were the targets. A little after 10 p.m., AKA and Tibz stepped outside the restaurant. They were relaxed, smiling. AKA hugged friends and greeted fans waiting on the sidewalk. He posed for photos. He chatted casually. There was no rush. From the outside, the scene looked harmless. A celebrity interacting with supporters on a busy Friday night. But then, in an instant, everything changed. Captured in one of the most disturbing and widely viewed CCTV clips in South African history, a man in a white hoodie walked with precise, deliberate movement from behind a vehicle. He raised his arm and fired a single, devastating shot directly at AKA's head. The rapper collapsed instantly. Before people could react, another gunman opened fire, striking Tibz and killing him on the spot. Then, as quickly as they appeared, the shooters disappeared into the night. The entire attack lasted seconds, but those seconds would haunt South Africa for years. Chaos erupted. Screams cut through the air. People ducked, ran, froze in shock. Cars sped away, phones dropped, chairs fell. Panic swallowed the street. Within moments, 2 of South Africa's brightest flames had been extinguished. By the next morning, the CCTV footage had spread across social media platforms, television channels, and news sites. Millions watched in disbelief. The country fell into grief and outrage. Fans gathered outside AKA's home, lighting candles and playing his music. Radio presenters cried on air. Public figures issued emotional statements. The entertainment industry felt paralyzed. The question on everyone's lips was simple, painful, and furious. How could this happen? How could someone be assassinated on a busy road in front of cameras, surrounded by witnesses? Police launched one of the most comprehensive and fast-moving investigations in recent memory. Teams were assembled. Evidence was collected. Surveillance footage was analyzed frame by frame. From the earliest days, SAPS made one thing absolutely clear. This was not a random attack. This was a coordinated, planned, multi-person assassination. Detectives pieced together CCTV angles from businesses along Florida Road. They examined phone records, financial movements, and vehicle tracking data. They followed communication trails. They rewound movement patterns. Slowly, a timeline began to take shape. A timeline involving surveillance, transportation, and multiple actors. As months passed, arrests were made within South Africa. Individuals accused of different roles, coordinating vehicles, following the targets, or assisting others. These were allegations, not convictions. Names mentioned in bail hearings were not declarations of guilt. Every person remained innocent until proven otherwise. But the investigation was far from complete. A major turning point came when SAPS confirmed that individuals of interest, people they wanted to question as part of the broader case, had left South Africa shortly after the killings. They were believed to be in Eswatini. Among them were 2 names that would soon dominate public conversations: the Ndimande brothers. Police clarified, they were not declared guilty. They were not identified as masterminds by SAPS. They were simply wanted for questioning. Individuals believed to have information relevant to the investigation. Eswatini authorities later confirmed their arrest. Immediately, South African social media exploded. Photos circulated. Theories spread. Opinions clashed. But legal experts were quick to emphasize, being arrested for questioning does not equal guilt. From that point, the case shifted into a new phase, the extradition proceedings. Extradition is slow. It is technical. It is deeply procedural. It requires a formal request, documentation, hearings, judicial evaluation, government-level cooperation. The brothers appeared in multiple Eswatini court sessions. Their lawyers raised concerns and objections. South African officials presented legal arguments. Judges evaluated every document and every requirement. Public interest soared. Journalists sat outside courthouses. Analysts dissected each development. Conversations dominated radio shows and social platforms. After weeks of legal back and forth, Eswatini's courts approved South Africa's request. The Ndimande brothers were handed over to SAPS and transported to South Africa to face charges. Media cameras followed every moment, but once inside the courtroom, the frenzy faded into the disciplined structure of the justice system. Today, the Ndimande brothers are suspects, not convicts. They have all constitutional protections. The right to silence, the right to a lawyer, the right to a fair trial, the right to be presumed innocent. Nothing has been proven in court. Their alleged roles, if any, remain unconfirmed. Only the trial will determine truth. What we do know, based on SAPS, is this. AKA and Tibz were victims of a coordinated multi-person hit. The operation involved planning, timing, surveillance, and communication. Multiple individuals were allegedly involved, each with different roles. Arrests in both South Africa and Eswatini form parts of the same investigation. What we don't know is just as important. Who ordered the hit? What was the motive? How was the operation financed? What exactly was each person's role? Only a court, not speculation, can answer those questions. South Africa has struggled with rising contract killings, targeted hits carried out with disturbing precision. From business people to political figures to musicians, organized assassinations have become an alarming trend. Many citizens feel vulnerable. Many feel unheard. Many feel tired of mourning public figures who shaped the nation's culture. AKA's death forced the country to confront the harsh reality. Organized crime networks are real, coordinated, and deeply embedded. But the arrests and extraditions show something else too. Progress, even if slow. The case is evolving. Evidence will be tested. Witnesses will testify. Prosecutors will present arguments. Defense teams will challenge every detail. And only then will the country begin to understand what truly happened that night on Florida Road. The legacy of AKA and Tibz Kiernan, AKA Forbes, wasn't just a musician. He was a cultural movement, a voice, a disruptor, a visionary who shaped South African hip-hop and left a legacy of chart-topping music, unforgettable performances, and national pride. Tebello Tibz Motsoane wasn't just a businessman. He was a trendsetter, a culinary mind, a creative force with a warm presence and generous spirit, a mentor and connector in the entertainment world. Their losses still feel unreal, still too heavy to carry. Families mourn. Friends mourn. Fans continue to celebrate their work. Their legacies continue to rise, even in absence and now. The wait. The story is still unfolding. New evidence may emerge. More witnesses may come forward. Court dates will shift, arguments will be presented, and judgments will be made. Until then, the nation does what it has done since that February night. It waits, it watches, it remembers. South Africans will not forget. They will not let this case slip into silence. They will follow every hearing, every ruling, every revelation. They will demand justice. Not rumors, not theories, justice. This is the story of AKA and Tibz. The story of grief and resilience. The story of arrests, extraditions, and a country fighting to understand the truth. The story of the Ndimande brothers entering one of the biggest criminal investigations in South African history as suspects, awaiting their day in court. The journey has been long, painful, complicated, but justice is moving, slowly, carefully, inevitably, and the whole country is watching. Thank you for watching. If you found this story powerful, informative, or important, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It helps more people discover these stories, and it supports the channel so we can continue bringing you detailed, well-researched content just like this.